Walker, KO, Walker, KO, Walker, KO, Walker, KO. Red, white, black. Bitch, tell me what
This was
let's do it. Man, they think they can see us, man. Get that song with the shit, my niggas. They can't see us, man. Well, see my birds, you understand, nigga. Zone City, whatever.
My daughter. Now I want you to tell me that you know for a fact that there's nothing wrong with my daughter except in her mind. You tell me you know for a fact that an exorcism wouldn't do any good. You tell me that!
The one on YouTube, we back in the Low Key Cave, Keyshawn Nimes YouTube page, aka Mr. Low Key, aka the Low Key Horror Cave. We back with another retro horror movie review, and this time we have The Exorcist. 1973. I could be wrong, but I know it was 70 something. But of course, you know we about to get the new Exorcist, The Exorcist Believer, coming from David Gordon Green. So I decided to go back and check out The Exorcist, and yes, this was my first time watching this all the way through. I have never sit down and watched The Exorcist movie. I've seen clips here and there. I've seen maybe it came across the TV sometime here and there, and I maybe watched a little bit of it. I've never sit down and watched this movie. So when people would say the whole thing with this is one of the scary movies of all time, it never really resonated to me because I had never really sit down and watched it. And even off the images that I had seen, of course, of the little girl, that you couldn't help but to see that. Even if you didn't watch this movie, you was going to see images of this little girl. I was like, what's the big deal? What's so scary about this? But another thing is that I wasn't necessarily a person that watched possession movies. Outside of probably my introduction to a show called Supernatural, was somewhat based around just demons possessing people and stuff like that, or even somewhat some movies here and there I would check out, like The Last Exorcism was like a found footage Exorcist movie or whatever, and of course the Conjuring movies and Insidious movies. And the only reason I even tried to check them out or started watching them because of James Wan, I'm a fan of. But as far as The Exorcist go, I had never watched this. And being that I do want to watch the new one because I am somewhat of a fan of David Gordon Green and what he did with the Halloween franchise, so I do want to see what he's going to be able to do with this, I said let's go back and check this out. I can tell you now, the beginning of this, I was confused because at first I was thinking, is this guy, as far as this priest, is he being possessed? Because he's in Iraq, if I'm not mistaken, they're digging up some type of artifacts or something, and he come across this one artifact, and his whole personality changed, like his whole demeanor changed, everything about him changed, and it's like something is coming over him. But I do get an understanding of it later on in the movie when he comes back as the priest to do the exorcism. And if I'm not mistaken, this is him getting like, I ain't gonna say a premonition, but he knew something was coming. And I think when he came across this artifact, I think it just took so much into him, like this evil, and he knew he could see it. And y'all can let me know, but I'm gonna talk about this goddamn creepy ass demon that just pops up real quick. And credit to the directors, bro, because I was just like, hold on, did I just see something? Because I wasn't even sure if I would see something, but it would be this image coming across, and it was so quick. But I knew I wasn't tripping. I know I'm not tripping. I see something, and I know at the end of the movie when the two priests come in and they're doing the exorcism of Reagan, that it kind of comes up a little bit more clear. But even in them moments, it's kind of fast. But it's like when she first takes Reagan to her doctor's appointment or something like that, it's like this real fast glimpse of this demon or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell was that? And that shit in the movie was taking me out. I was like, what is this crazy looking shit that just kept coming across the screen, man? I started thinking about Hellraiser and shit, because once again, like Cenobites or whatever. But this definitely took it to another level. And once again, this was my introduction to this movie. I had never watched this, and I ain't know nothing about this creepy white face ass demon that keep popping up. And I'm wondering if this kind of where James Wan kind of got his idea for that red demon that's on the Insidious movies from. I could be wrong, but I'm just kind of curious, is that where he kind of got his idea from? Because Insidious movies, in particular, part 2 deals with somewhat of possession or whatever. But yeah, man, this shit kept coming across the screen, and I would go back. Shout out to HBO Max, but I would go back to try to catch this. Like, I know I seen this. I know I just seen what I just seen. I know I'm not tripping. But yeah, man, that's definitely credit for them. Somewhat of a jump scare, I guess you would call it, because when you see that little creepy ass shit, and it's not long, but the effect it has, yeah. All right. Once again, though, just this beginning was kind of confusing me. But once again, once we kind of get to like the middle parts of the movie or whatever, I got a little bit more of an understanding of what was going on. Another thing I enjoyed about the beginning of the movie is seeing the relationship between Reagan and Chris as far as the mother and daughter. And you see how this little girl is very sweet. She's very innocent. She's definitely not what she becomes as far as her personality. But once they come across that damn Ouija board, I was took out, bro. Because once again, me being new to this, and I done seen all the movies, especially like Paranormal Activity and shit, when they bringing in Ouija boards or whatever, I'm like, what are y'all doing? And her whole demeanor as far as the mama Chris, like, where you find this at? Do you know how to play with it? Okay, let's see what's up. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But yeah, man, outside of that, it does help as far as with the story, as far as seeing their relationship. And once Reagan starts to trip out and shit, seeing how Chris, and just seeing what she's going through, the torment, the fact that she has to keep seeing her daughter keep transforming day in and day out and getting worse and worse. And that was definitely some of the moments in the movie where I was like, man, picture yourself in that position as far as going into your child's room or whatever, and they sitting there and just all this crazy shit going on as far as the bed shaking, and she sitting up there don't know what's going on, and then noticing that your daughter is starting to transform, and then her appearance is turning into like she deteriorating, and just her looking at you and being very volatile, swinging on your like, I'm just saying, man, you put yourself in that position. That's one of the things that definitely had an effect on me as far as watching the movie and watching his mother go through this, as far as showing how loving and caring the relationship between her and her daughter was, and then watching the transition when Reagan starts to get possessed and she starts to just black out and start cussing everybody out and get very volatile and even killing. But things definitely when we get to the priest, man, and I really kind of enjoy these moments as far as getting introduced to the priest, Damon, and kind of what he got going on as far as him losing his faith. But not only that, the whole thing with him and what happens with his mother, and that's kind of pushing him towards the whole thing with losing his faith, feeling like he wasn't there for her. So that definitely comes into play once we get to the whole ending and kind of this big confrontation and finale with them confronting the demon and Reagan being possessed or whatever. And of course, Reagan bringing up all these things to Damon, Pastor Damien or whatever, the priest Damien, and him going through all these confrontations with Reagan, being that, you know, she's possessed and she's pretty much tormenting him. She's pretty much got them teasing him. And you know, the whole thing with him trying to just hold on to his faith, and the fact that he knows it's not his mama, but the fact that he already felt guilty about the fact that he wasn't there for his mother. That's an effect of the movie, man. And them moments right there is real capturing. But if anything, it's the performance of the young lady playing Reagan, man. And when she fully transforms into the little girl, well, the demon, that's the thing. That's the performance. And I want y'all can let me know, did this girl win some type of Oscar or some type of an award for this performance? Because she is definitely pulling it off. And man, as far as just her mannerisms, because I know she's not doing the voice. Y'all can let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure she's not doing that voice. But just her mannerisms, the way she's doing the body movements, the way she's even, you cussing people like grown folks, cussing these adults out, cussing her mama out, the way she cussing the priest out, like the shit she's saying, like, you gotta remember, I want to say something. I watched Scary Movie 2, and once again, I had never seen The Exorcist, so me watching Scary Movie 2, and I'm thinking they just making this shit up as far as the stuff they saying, but no, this is the stuff that she was actually saying in this movie. As far as the beginning of Scary Movie 2, that was actually the lines that she was saying. So that was tripping me out, man. I was like, oh, they wasn't making it up. Even the whole scene with Reagan coming down there and peeing on the floor, I was like, oh, she really did that in this movie. Okay, y'all got me. But outside of that, once again, it's really this finale that picks everything up. Once we see the return of the priest from the beginning, and that's where I kind of started to get that understanding of what was going on, and he not being possessed, but it's actually him. Is it a challenge of a fight or something? Like, he knows this demon is coming, so yo, I'm here, I'm going to be here, I'm not going nowhere, and when you do show up, I'm going to be right here to confront you. I'm thinking it was that type of thing, and y'all can let me know if I'm wrong. But another thing, I always came to perception that Reagan was possessed by the devil, but if she not possessed by the devil, she possessed just by some other demon, right? I'm asking questions, man. Once again, this is my introduction to this movie, so that's another thing that I was kind of curious about. But once again, getting the character development between the priest and between Reagan and her mother, and bringing the other priest back in from the beginning, getting this finale, man, was what it was. And seeing the whole thing go down, as far as the priest from the beginning pretty much dying, and just once again the performance from Reagan, her sitting up there snickering and laughing, and once again her mannerisms, because you know there's somebody else doing the voice. It's really what I didn't see this coming. I was like, oh shit, the sacrifice from the priest, but it's just really him kind of coming to the whole thing with, no, wait a minute, you know. It's almost like he loses it, because it's like, you done killed the priest. This guy is supposed to be coming up here helping me, and he pretty much take his frustrations out, not really on Reagan, but the demon inside of Reagan. But then it turns into a whole thing with him telling, excuse me, the demon to pretty much take him, like, possess me, you can take me. And once again, I didn't see that coming. So I thought it was about to turn into a whole thing with, now we're going to have to deal with the fact, or is this going to end on a note that the priest is now possessed? But no, the priest ends up somewhat taking some control of the demon inside of him, and he pretty much sacrifices himself and kills himself by throwing himself out of a window. And I'm sitting here just like, oh, it's just like a very dreadful ending. Give or take, Reagan is saved, she got the demon out of her, but once again, it's just that whole thing with the priest. But it's almost like a bittersweet ending, because you know he had the whole thing going on with him losing his faith, the situation with the guilt of him feeling like he wasn't there for his mother when she passed. But it's almost like he had that redemption arc, which I feel like he didn't necessarily do anything bad to need a redemption, but you know. So once again though, just out of possession movies and the movies that I have seen, I do get why this is the one. Now, as far as it being like the scariest movies of all time, in my opinion, that is a debate. That's something that I have to go back and think about, as far as movies I've seen that I feel like it might be scarier than this. But as far as like possession and all that, even with the Conjuring films, you can kind of see that everything has took notes from this. Everything. But I enjoyed this, man. My introduction to this, so I'm definitely curious to see what David Gordon Green is going to do with this new one, as far as the Exorcist Believer, being that I just watched this one. So y'all let me know, have y'all seen the Exorcist 1973, which I'm pretty sure everybody have, and I'm thinking it's 1973. I could be wrong about the year, but y'all let me know if y'all have seen this, and if y'all have, how do y'all feel about it? Is this the scariest movie of all time, and do y'all plan on checking out the new Exorcist Believer? Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell, let you know when I upload new videos. Other than that, we out.